What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome in to CHGO Bulls Postgame, coming to you live from various locations around Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That's Big Dave. Bow, BAWL Sports. Four-time champ, Uncle Will Perdue 32, and rocking the controls behind the scenes, the one and only queen of said controls, Katie Duffy. We will hear from Gottlieb later on in tonight's game, and we will also, on the back end of the show, have a treat for you. A chat one-on-one between our guy Big Dave and the one and only Tim Legler of the ALLCITY NBA pod, getting Legs' thoughts on what exactly the Bulls are up to as we reach, mercifully, the All-Star break with this 128-110 loss to the Detroit Pistons. Second night of a back-to-back. Same opponent, same result. Thanks for joining us. If you're hanging out on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button so Katie doesn't bug you about it all night. Gentlemen, at least we saw some semblance of home court pride, of team pride, of effort, battling the Pistons to, I believe, a draw after the first 12 minutes of this game. The offense was much more alive. Obviously, you got to first credit Ayo Dosunmu for really leading the charge in that first quarter, was very aggressive, looking for his transition opportunities, knocking down some shots. But the Pistons are just a better team than the Bulls are. So even though the Bulls respectfully did show some kind of fight tonight, you know, instead of losing by 40, you lose by 18. I don't know if you want to take that as a moral victory of any kind. I'm just glad that we reached the All-Star break.
We are done. We're here. We're at the break. That's all that matters. We're at the break within actual L, so you know that matters too. So that's awesome. However they come, I'm okay with however the L's come. Like however they get here. You know, there was a song back in the day. Olivia Adams, I think her name was. She had a song called "Get Here." You know, she was like, she didn't care how you got there, by trailway, by plane, by car. She said, "I don't care how you get here when you can." So I'm just happy they're here. You know what I mean? And they're right here. And yeah, they took this L, but yeah, some stuff bothered me for sure tonight. I pulled out the hate list to bring that out. So AK is definitely on the hate list for obvious reasons, because this team is just this team that he has constructed. It doesn't make any sense at all. Are you winning or are you not? Are you playing the young guys or are you not? You put Billy in a really tough position to try to win, but still try to play young guys, but doesn't know when to play young guys and doesn't know when to develop them. I can't put all of that on Billy Donovan. A lot of that's definitely roster construction, as Will says all the time. So I hate AK for that. I also hate the Detroit Pistons front office for being competent and putting together a team that I like watching, because I don't want to like watching the Detroit Pistons. It gets on my nerves. I'm sitting there enjoying watching them play basketball. They were awesome to watch, and I hated every second of it. Beef Stew, Duran, Thompson, oh my God, Cade Cunningham, like they put it together so correct. Like they're tough inside and they got outside shooting. They're intelligent. They're together. They're smart. They're cohesive. They're a unit. And they got, you know, that fight in them, you know, like they got those going tonight kind of traits that I love so much. So I hate the Detroit Pistons for making me like watching them play basketball. And I hate AK for just, you know, everything right about now.
And remind me real quick before we toss it to Uncle Will, where did all of those wonderful young talents come from, Dave? Where were they?
Oh, that would be the draft, Matthew Peck. That's where they came from. The draft. Draft picks. High-end draft picks.
So, look, Will, you were sitting there pretty heated on our set last night because you talked about, hey, I've been on great teams. I've also been on, you know, a really bad team that won 20 games out of 82. But it still doesn't excuse a lack of effort, which is clearly what we saw from the Bulls last night. I mean, just absolutely inexcusable lack of effort. Josh Giddey, among others, took accountability for that in the postgame locker room. Do you feel like the response tonight from a team that got embarrassed like that on their home floor was good enough?
Yeah, I do. For me, let's just say if I was the general manager of this team, tonight is the perfect type of game, okay? You saw the effort from the get-go, but unfortunately that was in response to being embarrassed the night before. So now you have an effort. number one. Okay, check that box. But I also felt now, because it's an effort and it's a competitive game, you can make some true evaluations. Okay, because this is where we're headed, right? Evaluation. Who's going to be a part of this future? Who can they play to either, one, put them in what they feel is next year's roster, or two, put them in a position to have value on the trade market. Okay, so let's start with Modest. He's going to have ups and downs. 5 of 12. Vooch, much better effort. Plus, you got touches tonight, right? But very efficient. This is the Vooch that we expect to see. He responded, a veteran. Kobe struggled, 2 of 14. That's kind of, unfortunately, that's Kobe being Kobe. One of the things 100%. We've asked about Kobe is consistency. We haven't seen that from a shooting standpoint, right? Ayo chirping. He responded. All right, that's Ayo being Ayo. We're good there. Josh Giddey, better effort, but just not good enough results. But hold on, Jalen Smith being Jalen Smith. P. Will, I'm going to leave him alone because he's hurt, and I don't know the severity of that injury. All right, but Julian Phillips only getting 10 minutes. Trey Jones played well tonight. Mm-hmm. That's the Trey Jones that I remember coming out of Duke. That's the Trey Jones that I feel like could do very well, running somebody's second unit. Where he fits in with us, I'm not really sure. And then Kevin Huerter, he's just struggling. Okay, so you check those first 2 boxes of effort, evaluation, boom, we lost. All right, baby, let's go home and have a beer.
Sure. I mean, because we are doing post-game from home, I opted for something a little stronger than beer. But yes, I agree with your sentiment.
You go with a Matt Peck mule?
Yeah, it is a variation on a Kentucky mule. You are correct, sir.
Very nice.
So,
very nice.
At the end of the day, I'm sitting there watching this game, and I mean, last night you got nothing out of that game. Absolutely nothing. Except for, okay, you not only got punched in the face, you got kicked in the balls.
Punched in the face and then kicked in the balls.
And you basically went down on all fours and went, that's not fair.
Yo.
All right, but we had guys step up tonight. The effort was there. But I think now that Zach is gone, now that the trade deadline is come and gone, this is who this team is. Okay, I think we now have a pretty good understanding. Can they compete? Yes, they can. But only on given nights, right? And that's what it is. So the question is now, and we don't know this answer. This answer can only be determined inside the locker room, and maybe this is a really good question for Gottlieb when he comes on. Is this a team now that's trying to put forth effort, a good valuation, but lose? Or is this a team that's really trying their hardest to stay in the play-in? I mean, either way, it's not good. But I hope it's, the former, not the latter, because we know this team needs a lot of work. Then you throw on top of that the Athletics reporting that, Arturas was offered a first-round pick for Lonzo.
You really going to go there, Will? The vibes are good. We reached the All-Star break. I didn't want to talk about that.
But I wasn't the one that threw gasoline on the fire. I was out there trying to put it out. But all right, let's get back to the game. We'll save that for later.
Yeah, great.
But I thought all in all, this is exactly the type of game we need moving forward, so that Arturas can make evaluations and figure out what exactly is going on, because we're being told not only by Casey Johnson, but also by our own Will Gottlieb that they do have a plan. They're just not willing to share that plan with us, right?
Gee, thanks.
So we'll figure that out when we get there this summer. But just kind of, like you said, I thought tonight overall that you don't necessarily leave feeling good, but you feel like there was some accomplishments tonight. You checked some boxes.
It's okay, Will. As we said, AK's got a concept of a plan. Well, I'm sure we'll figure out what it is later. Dave, I am curious to get your thoughts on what we saw from the new guys tonight. Again, Collins was a DNP. He did get some mop-up minutes last night, but it's been for Billy the focus is seeing what he has in Huerter and Trey Jones. And I agree with Will. Yeah. I really liked what I saw from Trey Jones tonight. I mean, 5 of 7 from the field, most of it attacking the rim. And then when he didn't convert it to rim, he also went 5 of 5 at the free throw line. Like that's a really solid night. Conversely, man, our comments are going off on Kevin Huerter right now. Case cracked. Huerter has fallen off a cliff. See Ruby 23. Huerter is trash and should not be taking minutes away from Modest or Julian. What did you make of the up and down of the two new guys tonight, Dave?
I mean, we'll start with Trey Jones. I mean, he did what I know Trey does. Like, I'm not surprised by what he's doing. Of course, it's good, but I'm just not like, hey, look at what he did. We got something. Like, yeah, that's kind of what Trey Jones does and how he plays, when he gets time on the floor. All I was thinking was, well, what's it going to look like when Lonzo finally comes back? Is that going to be the case that he gets these minutes to get out there and do these things? Because we see where Javon Carter is just off into the land of the lost point guards. Like, he just doesn't exist anymore in this realm of Bulls players. So what's going to happen to Trey Jones? I'm very interested in seeing what happens to him when Lonzo comes back, because Lonzo is not going to get his minutes cut. Does he deserve to get his minutes cut? No. He was playing like 20-plus minutes. So I don't know what Trey Jones fits in on that. Maybe Billy just wants to have him there, but he just wants to put him in spot minutes. Like in the third quarter, he feels like you can get a spark or some energy from him. You can slide him in that way. But that's honestly what you're supposed to be doing with the younger guys. Over to Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter in the first half played more minutes than Modest Muzelis, Julian Phillips, and Dalen Terry. There's a problem there. Like, Kevin Huerter doesn't deserve to be on the floor that much, that long. I think we know who he is. Maybe Billy is just trying to get him acclimated, trying to help him find his shot. My thing is, like, I'm not here to help him find his shot. Like, you're a veteran, dog. Like, I'm evaluating some talent right now. Like, so I need to see what these other guys got as far as their shots and their things are concerned. You have a nickname. You're Red Velvet. We already know what you're established. We know who you are. So just helping you get that, you can get that in practice. You can get that in a couple runs, bro. Like, get your stuff on. He doesn't need 20 minutes out there on the floor to do that. Now, I know why Billy's going with him, because as we all know, Billy is much more comfortable with the veteran guys. And Kevin Huerter, he did some stuff in the third quarter defensively that I thought was really good, especially to start that third quarter when the Bulls went on a little mini run. He was a key part of that, along with Julian Phillips and the help that he brought in defensively as well. So I like that part, but his offensive game is what he's known for. And if that's not clicking, then he shouldn't continue to still be on the floor. I would like to see other younger guys on the floor doing their thing outside of Kevin Huerter. I think his shot will come, but it shouldn't be at the expense of the young guys' minutes who we're trying to develop.
All right, let's put a pause in the conversation right there while we take our first ad break. Shout out to everybody hanging out with us in the comments. Hit that like button. We'll get to more of your thoughts on tonight's game and share more of ours. When we come back on the other side of the break, it's who's hot and who's not from our friends at Prize Picks. Here's some ads. Hit the like.
You know what, guys? Before I left yesterday, the last thing I did after I said peace to Matt and peace to Katie, the last thing I did was go in the fridge and snatch out a Sam Adams American Light and brought it on home with me. Oh, and I enjoyed it during the game. It made it that much more awesome. Oh, and you know what's funny? And I'm going to be 100 with you on this. I had a Miller Lite. I drank it, and I was like, yeah, it's beer. But when I drank that Sam Adams Light, I for real said to myself, damn, this is better. I said, damn, this is a good beer, man. Like, it's really good. Sam Adams American Light, y'all. You have got to try it out. Light beer just got better. Introducing the Sam Adams American Light. It's clean, it's crisp, it's super easy to drink. No gimmicks, no fluff. It's light beer that is made right. Light beer shouldn't feel like a compromise, ladies and gentlemen. It's an American classic that is so smooth, you will want to crack open another one and another one and another one. It's always, and I mean always, Sam seasoned. Light beer just got much better. Grab some Sam Adams American Light, available now at select Chicago retailers. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Postgame tonight also brought to you by our friends at Cornbread Hemp CBD, America's first ever USDA organic CBD company. Their mission at Cornbread is to improve your quality of life with the highest quality hemp. Maybe you're looking for a healthier way to relieve aches and pains while getting a better night's sleep. Try Cornbread Hemp's USDA organic CBD gummies. Cornbread offers the first USDA organic CBD gummy in the USA. Their CBD gummies are the highest quality, full spectrum gummies on the market. They can help with stress relief, better recovery, and improved sleep. And what sets Cornbread CBD gummies apart from their competition? They are full spectrum, USDA certified organic, and they are made from flower only, never the quote unquote whole plant, which people know. Some of these people out there making various CBD products and various gummies, they'll use the whole plant. Nobody wants a stem in their CBD gummy. No, use the flower. Flower only, Cornbread. Third-party lab tested for potency, terpenes, and contaminants. They're also vegan, dairy-free, and gluten-free with no artificial flavors or preservatives. Cornbread also offers free shipping and backs all products with their 30-day Better Life Guarantee. Take Cornbread's 2-minute quiz to get custom recommendations tailored to your needs, whether for aches, pains, sleep support, and or stress relief. So, if you want to give Cornbread a try, they're offering CHGO Bulls listeners 30% off your first order. Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/CHGO and use promo code CHGO at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/CHGO. Promo code CHGO to get 30% off your first order. Cornbread Hemp. This is the good life. Rolling right along, CHGO Bulls postgame. Bulls fall to the Pistons 128-110, reaching the All-Star break at 22-33 win-loss record. And gentlemen, let's go ahead and cue up our second segment for the night. It is Who's Hot and Who's Not, brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. Download that Prize Picks app. Use promo code CHGO to get $50 instantly after you play that first $5 lineup. Well, so we were just kind of talking about the newcomers, Trey Jones and Kevin Huerter, on the tail end of our first segment. You can clearly, I would say, lump Kevin Huerter into that who's not category, because after tonight, what was he, 1 of 8 tonight? Yeah, 1 of 8 and 0 of 5 from downtown. Ooh, I think collectively that means since his arrival and in a Bulls jersey thus far, he is 4 of 22 from the field. And, Bulls fans heard from Kevin Huerter at one of their practices after he not only arrived in the trade, but made it through the trade deadline, and we learned he was going to stick around. They're like, it's been a rough year. It's been a rough couple years in Sacramento. The offense the Kings were running just wasn't really perfectly suited for my game, and he was expressing optimism that what the Bulls are doing offensively could work to his benefit. And it's still a very small sample size, but it's really hard as a Bulls fan to look at this sample of work so far from Kevin Huerter after arriving in the trade and feel good about the fact that he arrived because of salary filler, and maybe that's all it is, even though he's under contract again next year.
Yeah, it definitely felt like salary filler and things like that, but I thought that he could contribute something to the team. And again, I'm not saying he won't. I think he's a veteran who will find his way, who will find his shot. He works too hard, at what he does to shoot this bad. So I think he'll find his way. He's been proven. He has been having a tough season. The Bulls, it seems like Billy Donovan is going to give him minutes to find himself. So that's why I'm saying, he'll find that shot. Basically 20 minutes, played 19 minutes and 12 seconds in the first game against Golden State. He played 21 minutes in the game last night. So he's going to get opportunities to get out there and play and get his shot together. I don't know how it helps you. I think that's kind of what I'm looking at here. I don't know how that, helps you going forward. If you're trying to rebuild, if you're trying to start over, if you're trying to evaluate, helping a guy who might not be here in the offseason find his shot. But I think he'll come if that's the case, because that's what we have to deal with is what's in front of us. So, yeah, he's just not hot right now. He's shooting just real bad. At one point, it was 3 of 20 during his time here while he was here during the game. I don't know what it is now total as far as his shots are concerned, but it's just not good. And as I told you last night, Matt, it's not like these are bad shots that he's missing. These are good shots that he's taking. They're open. They're in rhythm. And he's just, clanging them. So you go through it. I'm sure Will Perdue can speak to this much more than we ever could. But sometimes, when you're doing everything right, the ball just says, I don't like you. And it doesn't go in. So we'll see what it looks like after the All-Star break.
Dave, every player can go through these lulls of just struggling. Remember, we talked about, with Modest, about the ability to come in and relax and play. Even with veteran players, when things aren't going well, and he knows he's under evaluation, not just with the Bulls, but, the other 29 teams are watching as well, right? That's what League Pass is all about. That's what you can go to these portals for all these general managers and pull up any game you want. So he's, this is a great time for him just to kind of get away from basketball and enjoy the break. It's going to be hard because it's just, most players are their harshest critics. So he's going to be doing a lot of soul searching while he's gone. But, I really liked what I saw from Trey. I thought he did a good job of, penetrating and kicking. He tried to turn the corner a couple times, saw the help coming, found the open man. In my opinion, didn't force anything, only one turnover, 5 of 7 from the field. I really like the fact he got to the free throw line 5 times, right? So I think he could fit into what this team is trying to do. Listen, this guy's going to play in the league for, many more years. Just the question is where? Because what do we have? A lot of guards. And let's be clear here, okay? Javon Carter, if I remember correctly, he has a player option for $7 million. Okay, I'd be willing to bet he's, regardless of the fact that he's not playing, we're talking about $7 million, more money than he's ever made.
Yeah.
Right. And this guy isn't a spring chicken either. All right. Even though he hasn't played a lot of years in the league, but he's going to have to probably bite the bullet and elect to take that contract and that $7 million, even though he knows he's not going to play. So he's, 12th man. All right. But you got Ayo, you got Kobe. And here's the interesting thing. This is probably where all three of us, for the next basically year and a half, are probably going to be all over the frickin' map. Because I don't think they're bringing both these guys back. Probably one of the two, because of what you're going to have to pay them, right? And let's remember now.
You talking about Kobe and Ayo right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's remember. The Bulls have stated that they feel like if they feel like they have a team that can compete for a championship, they'll go into the luxury tax. Okay? Hold on a second. I'm not saying that's what they have, but my point is that if that's the case, they're not going into the penalty, right? They're going to stay at the cap or below. So now, you got Modest, you got, I don't know. Let's see what they do with Vooch. You're going to have to decide between Kobe and Ayo. And we talked about this earlier a couple weeks ago, right? They are going to re-sign Josh Giddey. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? Jalen Smith will be here. P. Will, he's still getting paid. Julian Phillips, rookie contract. Dalen Terry. Does Terry have another year?
No.
I don't think so.
I think his rookie deal is expiring.
Yeah, let me check real quick.
This is his third year, though. Have they not picked up the option?
He has a 4-year deal.
Okay.
Yeah,
so he's in year 3 of a 4-year deal.
Yeah, he'll be back.
He's a restricted free agent, is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
No, club option exercise for 25-26 will be a restricted free agent in the summer of 26.
The next year. Correct.
Yeah. So he'll be back. So they're still going to be guard heavy. But the question is, after that, are Ayo and Kobe trade targets? Because they're going to probably look to keep one and trade one. Can't let them walk.
This is why some people were talking about them being trade candidates for the past month.
Correctamundo. But listen, we kind of had a feeling we were going to be in this predicament because 2 years ago in Brooklyn, after the trade deadline passed, when Arturas did his press conference, remember, he talked about we were looking to get better, but it was a buyer's market, meaning they didn't want to pay. And we were left asking, well, why didn't you pivot and become a seller? Because that means that guys would have gone for more than their value, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that they passed up on that and did nothing. So now here we are. I mean, this is all right. Let me ask you guys this question.
Okay.
Over, under. 3 years from now, I'm not saying this team will be a contender, but 3 years from now, this team will be relevant. Over or under?
What, just the likelihood of that happening? Labeling them as a contender?
Will it happen before then or after then?
Now, when you're saying relevant, you mean
a playoff team,
like
not a play-in team, playoff team.
So top 16.
That's correct.
I
mean, here's the thing.
That's so because okay, go ahead.
Dave, hold on. I don't really care what your answer is, but the fact that you're hesitating, that's all we need to know, correct?
He said, I asked you a question, but I don't care what your answer is.
No, I
That's what
do
we
care
do,
what
ladies
your
and gentlemen.
answer is,
Shout out.
But my point is the fact that you actually have to hesitate to answer the question is the problem, and it's not your
I did
problem.
not have to hesitate. I said over.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. This organization and the history of this organization, the fact that they've won 6 championships, we should never be here.
Well, tell that to Jerry. I mean, like, what are we talking about here? They allow people to stay in positions of power when it comes to basketball ops who are clearly not suited well for the job and are not good at assembling winning rosters, but they don't care because they don't care about winning. They have their 6 pristine trophies. They are not, like, if they cared about winning, they would do so many things differently. Like, I don't know, paying that luxury tax for teams that are competitive. Firing and replacing and hiring better executives to build you winning teams. That UC was looking pretty sparse tonight. And that is the only way that we know that they will ever turn 1/4 of 1/2 of one eye to maybe actually addressing some problems that are going on around here. Okay, we have to take a break. Who's hot and who's not? Thank you, Prize Picks. Who's not? The people who run this team.
And the people who watch it, if we're being honest.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm hot. We're about to hit All-Star.
How does he do a hat throw from home?
Not while I have the over-the-ear headphones on, Will. It's really challenging. I could whip them down and then check. I just got my
slam your forehead on the table a couple times.
There you go. Wouldn't be the first time. Hit the like button while we share some ads with y'all. Then we'll come back. We'll talk to Go. We'll hear from Legs.
So after I took home an awesome Sam Adams American Light yesterday, I walked into the next room to go out the door, and there was a beautiful box sitting there waiting for me. Ooh. What was in that beautiful box? Some awesome meals from Factor. Ooh, and I immediately got super excited. When I got it home, opened it up, Factor, listen, their customer service listens. And that's why I love them so much. The detail they put into it. They understand that I eat fish, man. They gave me some amazing options in that bag. And they gave me some cold pressed juice, man. I am a cold pressed juice person. I have a juicer. It's what I do. I have a cold pressed juicer. So knowing I have those two, I'm very excited. I love Factor. and you will too. Factor, it arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle or somebody who just doesn't feel like cooking. You can lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto Meals. You heard them. Based on randomized controlled clinic trial with Factor Keto, results will vary depending on diet and exercise. They also got 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week. I have a nut. I'm allergic to nuts. I'm allergic to peanut butter. I can't have those things. I tell them that also. They remove all those options for me, man. They definitely listen, and they are definitely detailed. They want you to have exactly what you need to reach the goals that you're trying to reach. It's awesome. They can help you feel better and feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. They are the best. You can eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/CHGO Bulls 50. Use that code, y'all, and you get 50% off your first box. Plus, you will get free shipping. That code again is CHGO Bulls 50 at factormeals.com. Get up to 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Factor Meals, it's in there.
Dave's not lying about that customer service because I filled out in that comment section, the comment box, like preferences on meals. Please do not send me any vegetarian, vegan, or fish dishes. And I got a box that showed up yesterday afternoon filled with pork, beef, and chicken dishes, and they're all delicious. And I know they're delicious because I've already eaten them, and I'm happy to have a fresh box. Shout out to Factor. Today's show also brought to you by Prize Picks. All-Star Weekend is almost here, y'all, and Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching your favorite players during the game and those Saturday night events like the three-point contest and the dunk contest. Modest's going to take it home. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. It's the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states, including even California, Texas, Georgia, and my favorite state, Florida. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. So get your lineup set for that all-star game. Make sure you got Modest Buzelis checked off as who's going to be winning that dunk contest. And download that Prize Picks app today with promo code CHGO to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's promo code CHGO when you download the Prize Picks app to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Moving along, CHGO Bulls postgame. Katie informs me that we do have a GOAT. Let's talk to him.
Man.
That's where it's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Joining us on that Go Talk hotline, it is our guy, the one, the only, Will, the KDW producer. Just kidding. Will the Go Gottlieb, Will _ Gottlieb.
Yeah.
There he is. We
There
got
it is.
4 across the board. Bulls Nation, follow him, Will
How about
_Gottlieb for his reporting. Read his stuff, allchgo.com. Go Bulls fall to the Pistons. Different final score, same result. Let's start here. Patrick Williams left this game. Bulls PR announced he would not return with what they called a right knee injury, I believe. What else can you tell us? What did Billy have to say? What updates do we know about Patrick Williams at this point?
There was no official update from Billy or the team, but I talked with Pat after the game a little bit, and he said that like when he went up for that block on Tobias Harris, it was a goaltend in the second quarter. I guess like Huerter or somebody else kind of hit him and maybe caused a little bit of a bone bruise there. He said they got some imaging done and there was nothing serious, but enough to where he felt like he wasn't really able to provide enough resistance trying to guard Cade and keep him in front. So as I've been saying with a lot of the injuries and illnesses on this team, like it's not worth pushing through just given where they are in the season, in the trajectory of this team. So I think he did the right thing by holding it out, and it does not seem like it's going to be anything serious that will cost him any time after the break.
Well, we know Billy Donovan talked after the game. Was there any big picture stuff that he got into? Because since we're at All-Star break, was there any big picture things that Billy Donovan talked about?
Yeah, he talked a little bit before the game just about like his approach with the break and how they want to use that time. I think everybody has their vacations planned. Obviously, Modest is going to San Francisco to compete in the dunk contest. Guys are going on vacation. And I think that they will take some time, but then also kind of get back a little bit early. Billy said he kind of assigns his coaching staff different things to look at, whether it's like, the analytics of how they've been performing in certain areas over the past X amount of games, whether it's film stuff, trying to just kind of analyze what they need to do differently or better in the second part of the season. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge than in previous years where he actually has a different roster now compared to the first part of the year, right? Like Zach is gone. And I think you're starting to see, in particular with Kobe and Ayo, those guys now were third or fourth on the scouting report. Now they're first and second in terms of perimeter players. And so, I was asking Billy a little bit about why he thinks Kobe's been struggling. He said, like, he's just getting so much more attention. They're taking him away. And I think that's a real opportunity for growth and development for Kobe to see if he can be that primary lead guard. And that's something that the Bulls really need. So that's one thing I'm looking out for just second half in terms of like what we need to see from some of these guys. And I think we have, or at least I have been thinking about Kobe as more of like, not a finished product because he's still young, but 6th year in the league, he had the big leap last year. We kind of know what he is, but I think this is going to be a little bit different for him to navigate. So I think there's like the minor stuff that they're digging into details wise, the film, the stats, and then there's the bigger picture stuff of like, how do we acclimate to life without Zach LaVine and how do we evaluate our guys, understanding that the context is different.
So, Will, I got 3 questions for you.
Hit me.
Bow.
Perdue.
Number 1, are you going
one.
anywhere? Even though considering you got back, where were you? Somewhere in Europe, right?
I was in a location to be
Parts unknown.
to parts unknown. I was not in Europe though, but I will not be going on another vacation. That was plenty.
Okay. So you're doing a staycation.
Maybe trapped at home. The snow is pretty rough. Although
come
some of
on.
us did go to work today. Some of us did.
Hey, talk your mess.
Shout out to the Gopher making it to the madhouse tonight while we all stayed home.
Nicely done, man. I appreciate you. Believe me. These soft ass guys I work with. Okay.
It's true. Where you reporting from? With?
So what, am I going to go sit in the studio by myself when it's dark?
Oh, you could have went to the game. You got free. You can go to the game for free. You could have went to the game. I don't want to hear that.
I could have, but I'm leaving town tomorrow, man. I had to do laundry.
Oh.
So, but did you feel at the start of the game, remember we talked about just the lack of kind of anything last night?
Yeah.
Did you feel at least a little more energy and a little more effort from the team from the get-go?
I did, and I think that was a big point of emphasis from them. They didn't go through a walkthrough today. They played the same team as last night. It was on a back-to-back. Obviously, like, this is not the playoffs, so they're not like going 100% on this. Not to say they weren't like putting forth their best effort, but I think just in terms of preparation, it's a little bit different when you're seeing the same team on the second night of a back-to-back. So I think the big message going to that though was the physicality piece that we talked about yesterday, where the Pistons were just bigger and faster and more athletic, and they just kind of bullied the Bulls. And I think, Ayo was saying like the first 2.5 quarters, I think we competed with them physically, and they kind of overwhelmed them later in the game. But I did think that they came out with more of that physicality that they needed to. And that's another big question and thing that I'm looking out for the last 27 games is just like, is that something that you can teach or learn or develop, or is that something that you have in your personnel? And if you don't, then, that's it.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because during the game, Stacy and Adam were talking about that. Stacy said this team lacks dog.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So that means that they might need to go out. Now, I think Ayo's a dog. Okay?
Agreed.
Dalen Terry's a dog. But that leads to my next question. Are we just looking at an evaluation period for the new guys? Is that why they're sacrificing Dalen Terry's minutes, or is it something bigger than that?
I wish I had a great answer for you there, like a concrete answer. The stuff that obviously we heard from AK was not very clear in terms of messaging of what is the plan and direction with the approach here. What Billy has said is that obviously like they are in the 10th spot right now, and this is an opportunity. I was kind of talking about they control their destiny in terms of trying to make the play in. And I think that's what the players are going for. At the same point, I think the organization, understanding where they are in the standings, is trying to evaluate the new guys on their roster. They're trying to evaluate how, I think, like I said, with Kobe, like how does he respond to being the number one guy on the perimeter? And so I do think that there's just like some evaluation going on. And then on top of that, you have the growth and development of guys like Modest, who is really, I think, the organizational priority right now, playing 30 minutes a night, really stepping into a bigger role. And I think he has a chance to like actually compete for Rookie of the Year. The race is wide open. I think that matters to him. And I think that's something that, he's going to try to go for here with the time remaining. So I think they're trying to test all these different things. And, you're still playing Vooch a bunch of minutes. You're still playing Ayo and Kobe a bunch of minutes. So they're trying to find minutes for guys like Trey Jones, who played well tonight, and see how he goes. And I think when you have 13 or 14 guys that are players, like you have to kind of make some sacrifices in terms of maybe Julian and Dalen don't get as many minutes tonight, because you have to see if you can rehab Kevin Huerter's value and make him a tradable piece in the summer.
Go, you just brought up Vooch, and I know I asked you about him last night, but I am curious because we saw him pick up another tee out of frustration early on in tonight's game. We saw some defensive possessions where he looked a little bit defeated, but we also saw him bounce back. He gave him 21, 13, and 5 tonight. He was efficient. He was much more aggressive. He was much more physical. And he talked after last night's game about, hey, I am a veteran leader of this team. I should have set the tone better. I should have done more tonight. That's on me. And he did respond in a certain way. Curious if he had any thoughts after this loss tonight and the way he played and the way that we all are kind of wondering how much of Vooch is still here mentally.
Yeah, we didn't talk to Vooch today, but yesterday kind of got a sense of that. And just like, he said this and Billy said, like, the trade deadline is passed. Like, this is what the situation is now. There's no help. No more trades are coming. There's nobody on their way to come rescue this team and take them to a top 6 seed. This is the group that they have. And so they have to either make the best of it or roll over. And I think it's probably, this is my guessing now, and just like kind of seeing the attitude and seeing the way that guys are approaching things. Like, I do think that this trade deadline, trading their best player, they're not like oblivious to what's going on here. They see where they are. And of course they're competitors. They want to continue to try to win every game in front of them, but they aren't stupid. They understand what is happening with the direction of this team right now. And I think it's absolutely affecting them, whether they would admit it or not. And Will probably has a better answer to this than I could give, but it just seems like there's no way they couldn't be, or they wouldn't be affected by that in some way or another, whether it's the emotional part of it, Vooch getting a technical, Ayo getting fiery today, or maybe it's, throwing the ball at the stanchion, or maybe it's even the Kobe and Ayo development piece of just like adjusting to this new life. I think it's taking a toll on guys, and we'll see if they can recover and recuperate over the All-Star break and come back in better shape.
Will, was there anything said about Ayo Dosunmu getting his first tech by anybody in the locker room?
I was being very strange about it. So Casey was asking him, and he basically just said, like, I don't remember that play. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. And so
Never happened.
He didn't want to talk about it, but
Neuralizer.
I think it was basically like, whoever it was, Fontecchio, was saying something to him, and I didn't like it. And so he said something back, and then they got double technicals, and that was that.
It was nice to see some fight. I think Bulls fans appreciated that, especially after what we saw them, how we saw them get embarrassed on their home floor last night. When you see Ayo showing that fight as a Bulls fan, you appreciate that. Although we do know, not just you, but Dave and I have also gotten the chance to get to know Ayo, from when he was, working with us a couple years ago, and he is a very polite young man. So I get it's not surprising that it took him this long to get a tech in the NBA, but good for him for getting pissed off. Goat, we appreciate the time, buddy. Appreciate you braving those winter elements to get to the UC for tonight's action. Bulls fans, subscribe, become a diehard, read his stuff, allchgo.com. Make sure you're following him for his Bulls updates. Will_Gottlieb. He is the one and only, perfectly coiffed, back in the saddle. Go, appreciate you, buddy. Have a wonderful All-Star break.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great All-Star break. We'll have a great trip. If you guys are going anywhere, enjoy the travels, and we'll see you on the other side.
Yes, sir. Take care, Goat.
Bye, guys.
Bro.
Hey, Matt, let me address what Will talked about, the frustration aspect.
Please do.
So last night I, shared with you guys about where I was and how we learned that Bob Hill had been fired and Greg Popovich was taken over. But I really didn't think about the aspect that Will mentioned about the frustration aspect. The interesting thing is I think back to that moment, and I was asking myself as he answered that question, at no time was I frustrated by the direction the team was going, because I felt like, a lot of it has to do with injury, right? But Pop made it very clear, we were dependent on injuries. We were using that as an excuse. That's totally unacceptable. That's not the direction we're going. And I felt like I had to make a change. And he talked about culture, and he talked about what was being built. And at no time was I ever in a position, did I ever think to question that? Because, like I said, I left that arena almost every single night knowing that the guys I played with gave it their all, but we just were not that good as a team because of the lack of talent. We had guys that played their asses off, but I was never frustrated because, because I wanted the general manager and the coach to pick a lane. And we saw what happened. That changed quickly, right, with Tim Duncan. But the thing that also was developed was the culture as soon as Tim Duncan was stepped into that culture. Now, people could argue, well, how do you know that the culture had changed? I could tell by, even the guys that were hurt and were not playing, even their attitudes changed about how they approached their, rehab. And we started firing on all cylinders. And that's the thing that I see now. You heard Will talk about it. I think you're starting to see the frustration with Vooch boil over, the frustration with Ayo boil over. Because on one hand, the players are like, damn, man, I didn't sign up for this. Because as I talked about at the beginning of the podcast tonight, players are usually their harshest critics. We know Modest is. Just because sometimes we get mad at a guy and he doesn't show his emotions, externally, he may be, dying inside. It's hard to tell. But sometimes these guys got to vent. And we're now, that's two games in a row with Vooch getting technicals. I think he's adapting, as you said, Will. I think Will put it well, adapting to this is who we are. But I think even the players are asking, where are we going? What are we doing? And that's when you get into a hard situation where now Billy's kind of backed into a corner. And unfortunately for Billy, now the last 27 games, he's now got to go back to answering questions not only for himself, but Arturas and Mark, because they won't speak until the end of the season. So now Billy's back to wearing many hats. And I would like to ask Billy if, he ever decides he wants to get out of coaching, would he be the mayor of Chicago? Because, he knows how to answer those questions, man. He's really good at it. I got to give him credit, right? But that's the thing. What can happen between now in the Knicks game that can kind of help these guys hit the reset button, refresh button, and be like, all right, 27 games. I know this kind of sounds selfish, but set some new goals of what it is you want to accomplish. Not necessarily the team, but you. How can you help this team win? And yes, when you walk into that locker room after the game is over, do you feel like you accomplished your goal, even though you're still frustrated because maybe we lost? And do a reality check of, take notes. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? I want to go back and look at the film and, okay, the next game's coming up. This is what I need to change. Get together with Peter Patton or whoever your coach is that you talk to. You see these guys sitting on the bench during warm-ups, going over plays and different things. What is it you can do to kind of turn the tide, not only physically, but emotionally for this team the last 27 games? Because if we're not careful, I mentioned this last night. I'll say it again. We got one foot on a banana peel and one foot in the grave. This could get really ugly. And it's, we have to be really careful. And I know Billy knows that. The coaches know that. And they're on high alert.
Well, I don't know how they plan on resetting. All I care about is that I know how I plan on resetting. Bulls fans all deserve this all-star break as much as the freaking team does. Let's be honest. With that, we do have a little treat that we save for y'all for the end of today's show. Earlier today, Big Dave caught up with our guy, Tim Legler, the one and only NBA analyst for ESPN, also co-host of that All-City NBA podcast with our guy, Adam Mares, over there in Denver, talking what legs makes of the Bulls' deadline moves and or lack thereof. So, Katie, if you want to cue this up, this was, of course, courtesy of our Hooters Hot Wing Hotline. Check out your favorite teams and cheer them on from any of the 11 Chicagoland Hooters locations across Chicago. You can even order online for pickup and delivery. Check them out at originalhooters.com. And with that, let's listen to a little Big Dave and legs, shall we?
Joining us is the main man with the awesome head of hair and the amazing shot. His name Tim Legler. He does the show with our guy Adam Mares, All-City NBA. Thanks for joining us, Tim. How you feeling, man?
I'm good. How are you? How are things?
I'm a Bulls fan, so I got a lot of emotions right now. But let's get into it, man.
Right.
Zach, the trade finally happened. We kind of alluded to it yesterday when I was speaking to you on the watch along. But the Bulls, we talked about how the Bulls should be doing everything, have all their phones out, make any deal that they need to get, some of these players off the team. They made the deal in getting Zach LaVine to the Sacramento Kings for, some players in return in a 3-team trade. They sent De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs. What did you think about this trade? Did you like it? And are you surprised the Bulls haven't done anything else?
Yeah, very surprised I haven't done anything else. Look, I don't know that necessarily got back what you would hope for a guy of Zach LaVine's stature, and he's going to go to a team, and he's going to help them. And I think they're going to be a team that's playing every night to win and be competitive in Sacramento. So you might have to watch him the rest of the year play in important games if you're a Bulls fan. And that's not really the case with their roster. This is clearly about, I guess, what the next thing's going to be. I am surprised that there weren't more guys moved, particularly Vucevic. I would like to know what the conversations were around him, because he has interest because of his ability to stretch the floor. And there are teams that were looking for bigs that could score from the perimeter for their spacing, and nothing happened, and he's still there. So they got a weird mix of guys, man. There's some teams that get caught in NBA purgatory. I think Chicago's in that boat right now. They've got some veteran guys that still want to play, put up numbers, get their touches, their shots that matters. Then they got young guys. They got to try to see who they are and let them develop. Then they got other young guys like a guy like Buzelis, who is clearly going to be, I think, part of the future, who really needs to get extended run and opportunities to blossom here at the end of the year. So it's really difficult for the coaching staff and the fan base when this is the boat you're in. Some young guys really are auditioning. Some young guys are the future, but you got to live with the growing pains. And then you got some veteran guys around too that still want to play and they want to be important, but that it's not really in a competitive mindset. So it's a tough situation all the way around when you're in this particular spot from an organizational standpoint.
Yeah, it feels like they're pushing and pulling at the same time, and just not choosing a direction. When you say that you're surprised by not making any moves, and we talked about Vucevic, we thought that he would be a part of it. But as far as other players on this team, I mean, the Kobe Whites and the Ayo Dosunmus and those kind of guys that are left here, did that surprise that those guys didn't get moved either? Or was it just more so, look, you got to get off of Zach and you got to get off of Vooch, and then you can really start your process of, heading towards the bottom?
Yeah, to me, that's what it was really all about, because they were the guys with the most years in the league. They were the guys that still produce at a high level. They're talented players, so it's easy to wrap your head around some team that's in the mix, that's maybe a playoff team or maybe a lower end playoff team, thinking that this could really elevate them and make them more competitive in their respective conference. Those two guys were the guys that were going to move the needle on that, and because of their ages, made the most sense. Some of these younger guys, like a guy like Kobe White, he's had a very good year, so it's like, and he's young. It's like, I don't know, do they view him as a piece that they want to go forward with? It was easier to see with Vucevic and Levine that probably wasn't the case, because the mindset was changing to getting younger and looking out into the future. And those are the kind of guys that you're not going to have on your roster to be a part of that. So that's why I was really focused on them. And they didn't get as much back for Levine as I would have hoped, and they didn't move Vucevic at all. So I don't know how Bulls fans really feel about what they accomplished here at the deadline.
And one more thing about Zach. How do you like Zach in Sacramento getting back with DeMar DeRozan?
Yeah, look, I mean, the guy can play, and I think any of these guys, they're going to be energized by just every night showing up to the arena, and it matters more, and that's kind of what's going on there now. He's going to help them, man. He can move because he can play without the ball pretty effectively. Yeah. He doesn't need to pound the basketball to be effective, and so the ball is already going to be in Sabonis' hands a lot. DeMar's going to have the ball a lot. Of course, they moved on from De'Aaron Fox, which was interesting. There's opportunities to handle the ball, but Zach LaVine can fit in and blend in because of his shooting ability. So I think he's going to play well for them.
Now, you mentioned the only thing that kind of gives us hope around here, as I call him, the last beer in the fridge, in Modest Buzelis. He's shown that he looks like he can be a player. The more minutes he's gotten, better he has performed for the Chicago Bulls. Double-digit scoring since Billy Donovan has started giving him 15 minutes plus in every single game. What is your feelings on Modest Buzelis? Do you like the young guy, and what do you see as far as his potential?
Yeah, man, I liked him a lot coming into the draft, and now that you're going to see extended run, I'll get a better feel for him. But what I have seen in the short burst he's gotten here over the last 5-6 games is a lot of potential, man, a lot of upside. One thing about him, he plays with a lot of joy. Like, he loves to play, and he's competitive, and he's got good athleticism. The question was going to be, for me, can he extend his range consistently? And I look at, over this stretch, he is basically 50% from the 3-point line over that stretch. Not super high value, but 4 or 5 a night is a good number. And he's shooting the ball at a pretty good clip from out there. So that's a nice sign. More opportunities, and he's shooting the ball well from there. That tells me it's in there. That's good. And then the last thing for him is going to be, like, can you continue to evolve with your manipulation of the ball off the dribble? Because ultimately, if you can't, you are limited at the NBA level what your upside's going to be. So that's the next thing for him. But you got to love the way he runs the floor. You got to love the way he competes. He likes to play defense. He's got an extended run, and he's shown you that he could score at a higher level. So now it's just hey, man, is this guy a grinder in the offseason? What is he adding to his game? But I think he's absolutely a piece you move forward with.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Billy Donovan has said he wants to put him in more pick and roll action to see what he does. Well, Gottlieb also said, a guy 6'10" with a handle is just something that's pretty rare in this league. So we should definitely be exploiting more of Modest Buzelis. Also, Modest is going to All-Star Weekend. It's going to be in the dunk contest. Do you think Modest can kind of, compete, pull this out? What are your feelings on Modest in All-Star Weekend as somebody that's been there?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think he's the kind of guy you look at, because here's one thing. Like, I always look at it like this anymore. Who's it mean the most to? And I think he'd be a guy that would, he probably is envisioned, because he's a guy, you go back and look at the clips of him growing up, and I was doing a lot of research on him leading into the draft. So, I wasn't as aware of him as a player. So, man, this dude got some serious bounce. Like, he likes to throw on anybody. So a guy like that, you can envision being one of those guys that probably stayed around practice for a half an hour, just dunking the ball all the time. As soon as he was old enough to dunk a ball, like, because he just likes doing that. So a guy like that probably started thinking about being in the dunk contest one day, years ago. So now here he is. So it's going to mean a lot to him. He's going to have to get creative, put on a show, but it looks like he's capable of doing it.
Tim, I do want to know real quick about your experience, because you are the '96 champion in the 3-point contest. What was your experience like in that contest? I think George McLeod and like Glenn Rice were in that contest with you, man. What was your experience walking away the winner?
Steve Kerr, don't leave him off the list now.
Can't leave.
I got Steve too now.
Yes, sir. He won the next year. Yeah.
And he got me back the next year in the final. No, Steve and I have a lot of fun talking about those days. Look, for me, I can tell you this. I was a guy, took a different path. I played at a mid-major. I was not drafted. I went overseas. I went to the CBA, which was basically the G League now. And then I finally arrived on the scene, had a couple years in the league. I was playing well before I was in Washington that year, but going into that weekend, I was leading the league in 3-point shooting, and we were playing well as a team. And so people started to become nationally aware of me as an NBA player around that time. So obviously for me, I was like, listen, you want to make a statement and you pound the gavel that you think you're the best shooter in the world. What better place? So that I was very serious that weekend. Like I went in there like, this isn't just, hey man, thanks for having me. I was like, no. I need to win this, because my path was different to get here than a lot of guys. And so I really want to seize this moment. And I was fortunate enough to have a great night shooting the basketball. Over a course of 3 minutes, I was able to put my name on that trophy, man. And I had some childhood idols on that trophy. Larry Bird won it 3 times. That was my favorite player. And now I'm like, hey man, my name's on that trophy too for eternity. So it was a big moment for me.
I know you got to go. Just one word real quick. Luka Doncic trade. One word. How did you feel?
Shocked. There's just no other way to – I'm still in a state of shock. I still can't believe what I just watched on Monday. I was calling that game, and watching him in a Lakers uniform was very surreal.
Man, that's our guy, Tim Legler. Thanks for joining us, my man.
Yep, you got it.
They're joining us on that Hot Wings hotline earlier today. Shout out to Legs for the time, his insights. My biggest takeaway, I think most Bulls fans know how we all feel about the final third of this season and what matters. My biggest takeaway is that he is a believer in Modest Buzelis. That is my takeaway from that interview.
Yeah, he's a fan. He definitely likes him. He said, he said this a few times before that, he was big on him in the summer league when he saw him, but like he said, he didn't realize, that he had those kind of hops, that he can get up there like that. That athleticism for somebody 6'10" is shocking and surprising when you see him do it. So yeah, man, like he's the last beer in the fridge, and Tim is like, I like him too. So yeah, that makes you feel good that you're not absolutely insane or just hoping and wishing on a prayer that somebody would turn into something. Like, no, people around the league see that this dude has skill.
Guys, the only piece of advice I'd like to give to Modest is just make sure you're creative on that first dunk, but make sure it's a dunk that you're very comfortable with. Just make the first one. Mm-hmm. How many guys have we seen that what they are trying to do is like very creative and unbelievable, but they miss the dunk and they're pretty much done for the contest, right? He's got some stuff up his sleeve, but make sure you make that first one so that then you can get really creative on that second one. Don't put so much pressure on yourself by missing the first one and lose valuable points on the scorer's table.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And, I'm guessing that at least a couple of his attempted dunks or planned dunks are going to be challenging, because I think he said in one of his various interviews over the last week or so leading up to All-Star Weekend is that he's got 4 dunks, in his pocket that he feels good about, and he's maybe trying to find 1 more or 2 more, tiebreaker or whatever, but that a couple of those dunks that he has ready to unveil, no one has ever seen before. So I'm very excited about that. Very, very excited. It is nice that the Bulls will have some representation there at All-Star Weekend, and obviously the fact that it is our rookie who we are excited about. I saw Our beloved James Knight in the comments earlier saying Bulls fans are too hyped on Modest, hyping him up too much for a rook. Second year blues are real. Let's hold the horses. No, James Knight.
No,
this is all we have right now.
We not holding horses. We not pumping brakes. We all gas, bro. We going forward. All right.
For the hashtag next not 30 but 27 game. Shout out to AK. I will be complaining every time Modest has fewer minutes than one of his teammates who was not producing as much as Modest was on the floor. That is the party line from here on out.
Absolutely. 25 minutes and up. That's what I want.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, gentlemen, as we wrap up here real quick, yes, I do believe we have a super chat that we need to acknowledge from Mr. My City, who said, Detroit basketball. That is all. Go Pistons. Well, hey, that is how the Bulls and their fans enter the All-Star break. Shout out to you, Mr. My City. How was that 4-0? How was that 4-0 in 91? Did it feel good? Did it feel good? As Uncle Will and his teammates were just giving you the business in that 4-game sweep on your home floor. That feel good? That feel good? Does it feel good that most everybody in the NBA contemporaries looks at Isaiah Thomas like Pshaw?
Oh, the pettiness of Peck. I love it so.
Chat, though.
I love it so.
Hey, man, I can't deny. I was thinking about wearing, I have my shout out to Uncle Horace straight up bitches t-shirt that I rock all the time. It's the Pistons logo and it says straight up bitches inside it. I didn't wear it tonight. Because I was like, we just lost by 40. I can't wear that shirt tonight. I went in a different direction.
The classics.
Gotta be petty about something.
The classics.
Gotta be petty about something. Well, as we wrap, Uncle Will, safe travels and journeys to you, my friend. Enjoy the warm weather. I hope you golf well. How many rounds are you planning on playing? Are you going to treat the All-Star break like MJ, like let's play 36, screw 18?
No. I am playing 3 times. And let's not forget what Friday is, okay? Friday is Valentine's Day, so, I mean, if you need to give yourself a card, do it, right? But so I do have some plans with my wife, and then we're actually meeting her family in Palm Springs, as I think this is year 4, maybe 5 during the All-Star break, because her sister is the only one that doesn't live local of the immediate family. So, they got 3 kids under 10, and we like to spend time with them. Mm-hmm. And this is our chance to, just kind of relax and not do a lot. So, we look forward to this, and my wife's looking forward to getting away as well. So, I do plan on coming back, but if I don't, you'll understand why.
I absolutely 100%.
Yes, I'm playing 3 times. I have 3 times on the schedule.
I'm kind of hoping that Chicago weather prevents me from coming back, hoping that I can get out of Chicago tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll get out.
What about you, Big Dave? How are you going to spend the next few days addressing your serenity now?
Oh, one word, chilling. The boys are gonna be chilling. It's some other stuff.
Couple Sam Adams American Lights.
Yeah, some Sam Adams lights happening. You know what I mean? Some other people planning stuff for me for Valentine's Day. But yeah, I'm basically gonna be chilling. That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be absolutely chilling.
I'm sorry, was that a subtle flex? Other people are planning things for you for Valentine's Day?
Listen, man, I'm loved, bro. I don't know how many times I got to say this, man.
Wow. That's
I'm loved.
That's a total
I'm enjoyed.
Yeah.
I'm enjoyed. So yeah.
Of course you are. I would happily spend Valentine's Day with you as platonic friends to show you that love that you very much deserve.
You notice how he's not answering that, right, Mr. Peck?
I don't know what I didn't answer. I answered the question at hand.
Big Dave knows who my real Valentines are going to be this weekend.
There it is.
That right there,
baby.
That right there.
Hey, that's what's up, man.
Just a little over 12 hours away from hopping on a jet plane and going to spend Valentine's weekend with my 2 favorite humans on the planet. Can't wait. Also, Unky Matt. Unky Matt is spending All-Star break away from Chicago and the Bulls. Thank Christ. Shout out also to our hardworking producer, the queen of the controls, Katie Duffy, who has just been a rock star in these last couple of weeks heading into the All-Star break. Short-staffed with production people over the last couple of weeks, cranking things out, doing amazing work. And she, I think, is getting the most deserved little break here of all of us as we hit the All-Star break. But fear not, we do have a couple of episodes lined up for you guys tomorrow and Friday to lead you into All-Star weekend. Tomorrow's show that will drop 5:30 Central Time. Big Dave and I preview all of the events of All-Star Weekend, models the dunk contest, three-point skills, the new format of the mini tournament for the Sunday game itself. And then Friday, we have a mailbag episode that's going to drop for you guys, also 5:30 Central Time, answering all kinds of fun questions from our diehards in that CHGO Discord about where this team goes over the final third of the season. And then we will be back next week to continue on this journey together. But in the meantime, appreciate you all in the comments for hanging out tonight. Appreciate you for hanging with us through this very trying Bulls season. Enjoy All-Star Weekend. If you're in Chicago, bundle up, stay safe, drive safe. If you are traveling for All-Star Weekend, safe travels to you. Much love as always. Follow Uncle Will _Perdue 32. He's a 4-time champ. Seen them rings. I have one on my finger. So did Dave. Big Dave, bow, BAWL Sports. Follow our guy, Will _Gottlieb. He's perfectly coiffed. Read his stuff, allchgo.com. I'm Bulls _Peck. We are CHGO _Bulls. See red. Be good. Enjoy the All-Star break.
Hoochie Mama.
Hoochie Mamas!
We all